Hello! In this video, we're going to talk about the police station of Plexville, right? That is this building right here. We're talking about all the different hiding spots you can see in this region, right? Basically, there's not many block piles surrounding that building. Like, there's basically just this hay bale stack and, like, nothing else, right? And then we'll just go over the inside of the building. So, the hay bale stack's actually really common to find hiders in. Like, I'm not even kidding. When I pass by with Leaper Hunters going from hider spawn, checking block piles over here, I will always check the hay bale stack because it's just really common to find hiders here. I have no idea what the theory behind it is. Right? I haven't really come up with a theory. I mean, I know... I'm not going to say anything. This is a really common spot to find a hider. Right? Really common spot, so you should definitely know this one. There's also a hole right here. Really common to find a hay bale in this hole. Right? If you see 3 hay bales in a row like this, it's fake, right? Right, another spot you can see is like basically leaning up against the wall, right? Notice how we should have a plus sign right here. If there's a hay bale in this gap, the plus sign disappears. Another thing is that if there's a hay bale right here, the plus sign is modified. So as you can see, since the plus sign is modified, it looks like a cross now. That's how you know it's a fake hay bale. That's basically it. I guess another spot you can see is a hay bale all the way on the left side of the stack like this. That's basically it for the hay bale stack. Now, it's so common that sometimes you'll even see flower pots hiding in those spots. Right? Literally like right here, or especially this one right here, which can be difficult to see as a Leaper Hunter, because obviously their flower pots are really small compared to hay bales. So typically you'll encounter that one with radar. Sometimes they'll even shoot at you, so obviously you know they're there. That's basically it for the hay bale stack. Right. Next, we're going to talk about the police station building. Now, basically, for the inside of the building, this is basically the main entrance, if you want to call it that. From here, there's 2 possible ways that you can go. You can go that way, right? Keep going that way, or you can head to the left right here. It's just sort of like the offices, right? Like, see behind this desk, behind the front desk, there's these offices. It's a dead end, though, right? For some reason, we got bunk beds in here. I like to call them bunk beds, so I'll be calling them that. Basically, this is a dead end. That's the most important part about the rooting over here. It's a dead end. I like rooting. That's good. I like that word. Right. So since it's a dead end, we're going to talk about this room first, right? So basically, there are 2 flower pots on top of the front desk. If you see 3 flower pots, for instance, like this, then that would be fake. Right? For the note block stack, basically, if you see a note block on either side, like right here or right here, either one of those 2 spots, like basically 2 in a row in front, would be fake. Another thing is you might see 2 in a row on top. That would be fake as well, right? Or if you see a note block that goes way too high up like that, then that would be fake. I like saying that. Way too high up. That would be fake. Nothing really else for this room. Anvil stack, not really that important. I like to view it as you have a vertical square there and a horizontal square here. Some of you guys could probably visualize that, but basically if you can't, then I guess if you see 3 in a row, it's fake. Or if you see 3 in a row, it's fake. Or if an anvil goes way too high up, right? I like saying that. Way too high up, then that would be fake, right? That's an anvil to the right side of the stack, right? You could just memorize it like that if you want. That's basically it for the anvil stack. For the flower pots, you should just have a total of 2. You shouldn't see 3 flower pots like this. If you do, then it would be fake. So now, let's go to the bunk beds. Now, hiders can't get on top of this bunk bed, right? They also can't get on top of this bunk bed. The only one they can get on top of is this one, all the way in the back. So if you do see a hider in this specific spot, then that's how you know it's fake. Right. You could, of course, see flower pots hiding in between the bunk beds, like this and this. Right, that would be fake. Right, and then all the way at the end here, we have these TNTs, right? Notice how you have this TNT stack and these 2 TNTs. Well, if they're ever connected to each other like this, that's how you know it's a fake TNT. If you see a rectangle of TNTs like this, that would be fake. 2 TNTs in a row, it's fake. A TNT that goes way too high up, that's also fake. Right, this one also, I guess it kind of goes way too high up. Basically, it's 3 TNTs on top of each other, then it's fake. Again, you'll probably encounter these with radar, not with Leaper Hunter. So that's basically it. as for these cakes, so now that we've talked about the entire dead end area over there, we're gonna start heading literally checking all this stuff out. But starting with the cakes, basically it's just a total of 7 cakes. Because I can't really think of a better way to memorize it. Just 7 cakes, honestly. I guess if you see a cake right here, like 3 cakes in a row, that's fake. I guess the spot you should really be paying attention to is this one, because I typically see this one whenever I encounter it with Radar Hunter. That's basically it for the cakes. I mean, also if you see like 2 in a row in front of the stack, like here, or 2 in a row right here, that would be fake. That's basically it for the cakes. Oh, I guess another spot is 4 in a row. So if you notice those differences, that would be fake. Now from here we have 2 possible directions, right? If we decide to head in this direction. You can either go upstairs to all this stuff upstairs, or you can go this way, the downstairs section, which is basically, you can actually literally go down, right? You go down into this underground area, and you eventually exit the house on the left side. So this is basically the left side of the house. There is a little hole right there. In addition, we'll go over that TNT stack, right? And we're back at the front entrance. So let's start by heading over to the right, right? So once you head over to the right, you have this flower pot stack. Basically, it's just a total of 6 flower pots. But if you want to be familiar with the different spots you can see, well, if you see 4 flower pots in a row like that, it's fake. You see a square flower pots like this, it's fake. Right? Or if you see sort of, again, a square flower pots, it's fake. And sometimes we even see this spot right here. That's really all it is, right? For the flower pots, just a total of 6 flower pots. Which you'll usually encounter with Radar Hunter. For these cakes, it basically almost forms the letter H. Notice how this is good, that's good. The only difference is the right leg right here. Notice, if there was a cake right here, it would also almost form the letter H, right? It's just with the exception of 1 cake. So it makes it really easy. It's basically like this leg of the letter H was moved upward by 1 block. And so that's really all it is. So memorizing the spots, like for instance, wherever they are, it becomes really easy. You just think of it that way. Right? So just like that, right? Just like that. Oh, another spot I forgot to mention is you could sometimes see a flower pot in this hole right here. Another spot I just remembered, I forgot to mention outside, near the hay bales, was basically at this hole, at this little opening right here, leaning way up against the edge of the map, or edge of the building. That would be fake. You'll sometimes see that as well. Right, going back to this little area, we've already talked about all this. Heading over here, you actually have 2 cells, the TNT cell and the anvil cell, which basically look almost identical to each other. Let me explain. For the TNT cell, you have a 3-block staircase. For the anvils, you also have a 3-block staircase. It's just flipped around. The only difference is that for the TNT stack, you have 1 TNT in front of the stack. For the anvils, you have 2 anvils in front of the stack. And that's really the only difference. So really, if you ever see that TNT staircase modified, it's fake. Or 2 TNTs in front of the stack like this, it's fake. It's the same thing for the anvils, it's just, again, flipped around. Right, notice if that staircase structure is ever modified, right, or in this case, if you see 3 anvils in front of the stack, that would be fake. That's really all it is for the cells. For these bookshelves, I would just kind of memorize the spots, right? If you see 2 in a row, it's fake. Bookshelf right here is fake. Right? Or if you see a bookshelf to the right of the stack like that, it's fake. That's basically it. Heading down here to this little downstairs area, most of the time you'll find non-ideal hiders in here, but like flower pots all the way at the bottom right here, just like that, you'll sometimes see. And now we're back to the outside area. Let's just quickly go over this TNT stack. Right, this is basically the TNT stack on the left side of the building. Now, this TNT stack is actually really easy to memorize. Right? One thing is you should never see a TNT that goes way too high up like that. Right? Way too high up, it's fake. But notice, we have 3 TNTs on the very top of the stack, 4 TNTs on the middle layer, and the bottom of the TNT stack almost forms a rectangle. If there was a TNT right here, it would form a rectangle. That's really all you gotta memorize, right? 3 TNTs on top, 4 in the middle, and almost forms a rectangle. I love that. I love that. Almost forms a rectangle. So basically what that means is if you see 4 TNTs on top of the stack like this, it's fake. If you see 5 TNTs on the middle layer like this, it's fake. And if you see what basically is a rectangle, it's fake as well. Another thing is you should never see a TNT connecting all this stuff together. Like, you should never see a TNT connecting this lone TNT with the rest of the stack. It should never happen either. So that's basically it for the TNT stack. So really easy if you just think of it that way. And now we have talked about that stuff. Going back in here, since we've talked about the right side, we're going to go to the left side, which leads us to the upstairs of the building. Right? Notice this is basically the route, right? That's the only opening if you were to follow that route, right? If you were to follow that route upstairs. The other route, I like that word, you just jump up here and go out there. That's really all it is. I like that word, route. So really, we'll talk about this balcony afterwards, right? After we talk about these offices, right? As for the offices, we basically have a total of 3 offices. We have this one, and this one, which leads to the outside. The most common one to find an ideal hider in, I've noticed, is in here, right? It's either usually going to be a cake or a flower pot, but you'll sometimes find it in this specific hole right here. So definitely know that spot. There's 2 cakes over here and 4 over here. So if you see 5 over here like that, it's fake. So just memorize the numbers 2 and 4 when you're passing by with the radar. There's also 4 flower pots over here, so just memorize that as well. And here, instead of 2, 4, it's 1, 3, right? We have 1 and 3. Alright, as for this hole, you'll sometimes find a flower pot in this hole. Right? But not as common as if you were to find a flower pot or a cake in this hole. Right? Heading in here, it's basically just 1 flower pot, 1 cake. So really easy. 2 flower pots, it's fake. 2 cakes, it's fake. Right? And here's basically the opening. And so basically, that's the opening right there. So now that we've talked about all this stuff over here, now we are going to talk about the balcony area. Right, the balcony area has 2 routes, not 2 routes, but like 2 areas in which to enter and leave, here and here. Now obviously there are many different possibilities from here, right? And over there, but basically those are the 2 entrances / exits as regards to the outside. And of course there's this right here. That's basically it. For these cauldrons, typically you don't find hiders in them, not very common, right? But notice there are 3 holes in the stack. 1 right here, 1 right here, and 1 right here. Basically, if you just know those 3 holes, you're good. But some other things you can memorize is if you see 4 cauldrons in a row ever, it's fake. And again, 4 cauldrons in a row. If you ever see that, it's fake. Really easy if you just memorize that. That's basically it for the cauldrons. For these cakes, basically just a total of 2 cakes. If you see 3 cakes, for instance, like this, it's fake. For the flower pots, it's basically almost a complete connection. It would be a complete connection, sort of like a wire, a complete connection if there's a flower pot right here. Right, so you can sort of see that it would form a complete connection if there's a flower pot here. It's also symmetrical if you disregard this flower pot, and there is in fact a flower pot right here. So really, if that's the case, then that's really all you gotta memorize for the flower pot structure. The other spot that you'll sometimes see is a flower pot sort of hiding like this, right? As you can see, it makes it more difficult to see them for hiding like that. And of course, they could also be in this spot as well. So either one of those 2 spots you'll sometimes see. And so that's basically it for the top balcony. And so that is basically it for this building. We've talked about basically everything that I've needed to talk about. And so that's pretty much it.